Hello, my beautiful soul family. How are you? Sending you love and beauty and grace, that all your dreams may come true, that we may know peace on earth in our lifetime, and that we are the bringers of the peace, and generations that come after us will be the peacekeepers. And so it is done. I want to talk to you today about the theme of this year, which is standing, what it means to stand. A dear friend of mine speaks of standing as this. When we stand, we are standing in our knowing. And what it means to stand in one's knowing is to be one with our divine creator. As we are standing, we're not engaging in fight in any way. So, although a lot of patriots have some good intentions, the way of fight, fight, fight for your rights, that's going bye-byes. Because the way to peace is peace. We don't fight our way to peace. We are peaceful. We are loving. And this is the way. And as we stand in our knowing and become one, knowing we are one with our Creator, the fight falls away. Remember that fight begets fight. And when you lay down your sword and you don't participate in the game anymore, that's the first step. And, we can fight for our rights. We do have the right to fight for our rights. But the first trust indenture for the United States of America was set into place to protect our rights. And remember, it's united we stand, it's not united we fight. Now, there were some evil doers back around the turn of the century in the early 1900s. And they were saying that if it gets out that the people realize that we are one, our game is up. Well, guess what? We know. We know. The reality of God is we are one. The reality of God is we are one. The reality of God is we are one. So when I trespass against another, I'm actually hurting myself. When someone causes us harm, it's not that we have to do anything. That backlash, that self-created karma that they created with their free will, that's what they're going to receive. So as we stand, all we need to do is just be the light that we are. And it's a reflective universe. So the light we are will shine, and it will shine on their darkness and expose it. And it's sad because when their shit comes up, they end up thinking it was us that was somehow the perpetrator. And yet all we're doing is just standing. It's pretty fascinating. So when someone goes out of their way, when they go out of their lane to exercise their free will to be offensive to your free will, I think this is what it was meant when Yeshua said to turn the other cheek. This did not mean to be a coward or condone the other's behavior, but it definitely was sending a message to not participate in the fight. It certainly doesn't make you a coward. When we stand, we're giving. We're giving love. We're giving forgiveness. Forgiveness as a way of life. This is the way. It is a way that has been preserved, and we're now remembering the way. And as we remember, we hold the light so that others will have opportunity to remember. It's about sharing. We can go out and we can educate the public officials, we can educate, but sometimes people get offended if you're going to educate them. And so we're not here to offend anyone, you see. we're sharing information, we're sharing wisdom, we're holding the light for each other while we go through this collective awakening. And the cognitive dissonance is real. And when the truth is being revealed after you've been lied to your entire life, it feels horrible. It feels like you can't trust anyone. It feels like the truth that's coming to you is actually a lie. And so as we go inner and we're self-responsible, recognizing that, wait a minute, if my outside world is reflecting anything other than harmony, peace, beauty, and love, then that's a sign for me to go in and clean house. And so this is a massive purification that we're going through, and each one being self-responsible, self-accountable. We're recognizing how we are part of the mess, and being self-responsible, we realize it's up to us to be the cleanup crew. So not only do we have to deal with people and their other free will that might not be honoring of our free will, so when we stand, we have to stand and ground the energy and breathe and not take the bait, because many are going out of their way to pick fights with people that love God or love truth or love unity, right? And we not only have to stay in our center, in our knowing, ground the energy, not participate in fight, but we also have to be part of the cleanup crew. So it's a massive responsibility. And as we can see right now, there's not a lot of people that are really interested in being self-responsible. They're so into not my department and doing the blame game. So this is a big responsibility, not only to be self-responsible, but then also realize that I'm responsible for my neighbor, and I'm responsible for the earth and the outcome of this massive journey that we're on. We're on it collectively. Remember, the reality of God is we are one. So whatever I see in the other that I hate or judge to be horrible or disgusting, I have to realize that whatever exists outside of me is a manifestation of what's going on inside. So as I clean house and I do my breath work in through the nose and through the central channel and become still, be still and know that I am. This stillness that exists within all of us, if we seek it, is the place where we can find the reality of God, as we are one. And thy will be done. So as manifestations of the Most High God, a creation in the image and likeness of God, I am, as I remember the I am, I live the way. And it's not my way, and it's not your way, it's the way. The way to peace is through peace. I live peacefully. And when my world is not in peace, I remember to go in, to remember the breath work. I remember to keep the other out of it, because there is no other. It's only the great I am. We are preservers of the way, and we are the way showers. As we live this way, we will see the fulfillment of God's highest will, which is for high vibrational beings living in unity with Mother Earth, living in community with each other, in beauty and grace, where there's abundance, there's more than enough for everyone. And for those of you who are finding your place, finding your world in a dark place, remember the breath work into the lower chamber. This isn't the breath of the lungs. They call that the breath of your last breath, the death breath. We want the breath of life through the nose, in through the central channel and down into the lower chamber. I don't wish cold upon anyone, because there's nothing more degrading to the soul than to suffer bitter cold. But if you find yourself in bitter cold, remember the breath down into the lower chamber. The body is intended to self-heal. We can generate heat inside of our beings through the breath work and through mantra. If you're not familiar with mantra, mantra is a prayer. It's something you say to yourself or to God over and over again until it becomes a reality. I am love. I am beauty. I am grace. I am good. And I am warm. I have a natural heater inside of me, and it feels so good. I can warm up my body anytime. And if you're hot, you can turn on the air conditioner inside as well. And we can regulate our body temperatures through the breath work. Yes, it's a practice, but there's no better time to practice. If you're in a prison cell, there's nowhere to go but in. Do the breath work. Back to the breath. The basis of the work that I have lived by and that I now teach is healing through feeling. The breath is the river that the emotion rides on. So we can't think emotion. That's an intellectual understanding. It doesn't get the results. But when we're focused on the breath, we're not focused on the thoughts of what am I thinking. And it gives way, an opportunity for that emotion to flow, because that's all it is emotion, energy in motion. And we are energy beings. So as we flow with this energy of life through the breath, God breathed life into the nostrils of our beings. He spoke life into existence. As we speak goodness. We speak of health and well-being, not only for others, but for ourselves. We must remember the self-love and to take care of ourselves so that we can be strong for God's highest will and for others. And we forgive ourselves and we forgive all others. And this is another mantra that is so helpful in this day and age. I forgive myself. I forgive all others. I forgive myself. I forgive all others. It becomes natural. In our studies, we've learned that Christ-defined means natural. As we go back to a natural way of living, we become Christed ones. We know that we are not separate from our Creator, and we know that we are not separate from our fellow man. So when we stand, it's united we stand, not united we fight. When we stand, we're declaring and decreeing that which is. It's the I am principles in physical, active form, if you will. It's so beautiful and powerful, and our founding fathers knew this and set forth the Declaration of Independence, where they declared and decreed our independence from tyrannical leaders. They're not really leaders. They're powers that want to be, but it's false power, and anything that is not based in truth will fall away. So we don't need to worry, and we don't need to fear. And yet, if these emotions come up, we allow them through the breath. And eventually, as we apply ourselves, the grace falls upon us. We don't think it into existence per se. We can think positive thoughts and do mantra and journaling and things like that. But at the end of the day, it becomes us. We're not forcing third dimensional will. We're allowing the miracle. We're allowing love. I give love. I receive love. I give the very best of the love I am. I receive the very best of the love of others. And as I do this, and I do my administrative process, because God granted me a brain, and with my free will, I'm choosing to stand. And I do it with an essence, the form, the law form is God's highest law, which is synonymous with natural law. So we go back to a more natural way of living in communion with each other. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And we can uphold our unalienable rights because we're not property to have another man or woman put a lien on us. These are unalienable rights. These are God-given rights. So as we stand, we're declaring and decreeing through the I am principle, through the spoken word or the written word, right? The pen is mightier than the sword. So we can do our administrative processes, and we are divinely blessed in our actions and our intentions because our essence comes through into form. Now, essence is even recognized in the law, and I believe it's Black's Law, either 4 or 6. If you look up the word form, it will literally say, I believe it's the first word written, it says essence. Now, that essence will convey in your paperwork and will convey to the one who receives it. So if you have a wobble in your aura, they will sense that if you're double-minded, if you're jumping jurisdictions. So it's always a good idea to get into your center, get into the breath work, and then when you start a letter or do any administrative process, remember we use our own forms. We don't need to use another's form because when we're upholding God's highest law, we use our own paperwork, not a statutory form. You see? Now we can reference their forms when we're doing our administrative process, but we need our own papers, right? And with our own letterhead, which is very important. That's where we declare and decree who we are. And so I bless you on your journey. And remember that the basis of the work that we do here with Americans in Action, the basis of the work is based in spirituality, in love, in God's highest principles, in God's highest law. And thy will be done as on earth as it is in heaven. And so it is. And we learned through our studies to quit saying the word amen at the end of prayers because we learned that there were some false gods, amen, something. Anyway, apparently it's putting out a prayer that is not in alignment, if you will, for the highest law of God's love, God's divine love to manifest here on earth. And another thing, if you've ever studied any parse syntax, it's a breakdown of parts of words. A means no. So if God created men and women are mentioned in the Constitution, we're people, it's not we the persons, it's we the people. Amen means no men. It cancels out our life force. So we say, it is done, or so it is, or God's, thy will be done. And it is so, because it is written and it is done. And we don't say out there one day, we say it is done. And we know and live this kingdom of heaven living inside of ourselves every day as a reality. And so it becomes. And the universe is just playing catch up on the little timeline there. So we live it, we live it, we live it. And we do not go into agreement with what we're seeing in this illusionary world, the third dimensional realm, which is temporary and illusionary. So these are good reminders for sentient beings who watch our channel, who love God as much as we do, and who are also standing and doing administrative processes so that we're sharing information, we're educating public officials, we're alerting them to the facts of the matter, and we are private. We're living in the private kingdom of heaven living, and the law supports us. The law supports our free will to do this. If we can remember to be peaceful in our dealings, because boy, it is so tempting to fight with some of these evildoers, but just don't go there. Just don't go there. Go give yourself a time in, punch the air, but don't punch your fellow man. Okay. Well, I love you. I wish you a beautiful and blissful day, and stay strong, and we'll talk to you next time.